Just ignore the hair, because this is like, I worked late last night and the hair is a bit bouffanty and I can't be bothered. I'm just going to have my coffee and then I'll have a shower, so just deal with it. But I wanted to do a video because I've seen so many things online recently, particularly targeted at women, particularly of my age group. And it's talking about women like saying, you know, I had to let go, I had to like work through things, and look at me now. And it's kind of like them now, film premieres and them getting loads of gigs and getting loads of money and loads of clients and things like that. And obviously like coaching spaces, that's a huge thing as well. And I totally get it. But I wanted to do a reminder for everybody that kind of sees those things. There's a lot of us at this particular age group where there is a path. And there is the path where your life has built, you've had your goals, and they have kind of come to fruition in the more traditional sense. So you are the women that are now getting pregnant, you might be getting married, you might have got your first house with your partner, you might have a long-term relationship. That's path number one. And then for women in their 30s now, you've got path number two, where that path didn't really happen. Or I kind of tailor my videos to the woman who is waiting for her life to start at 30, which I think is a really realistic position that people are in. And so what I want to remind people is, if you feel like your life hasn't started yet at 30, if you feel like some of these goals and things, like your goals around your career, your goals around a relationship, your goals around what you want to achieve in your personal life, what you want to achieve at the gym, material things like you want to have the house or you want to have this kind of thing. I believe entirely now that if something isn't for you, like you'll feel it in your body, it will feel uncomfortable, it will feel unsafe, first and foremost. That is your body, that is your intuition. And sometimes if you choose to ignore that for a long time, your body revolts. So you get to a point where you say, this relationship can't work anymore, or this job has literally landed me in the hospital, I can't do this anymore. So if you ignore it, it will kick you up the arse eventually. But also I think that if you are someone who is heavily protected, so we all have our own spirit guides, our own guardian angel, our own support team. If you have a very protective support team, then if you start going down a track that they don't like and that is not in your best interest, they will come and they will move it out the way. So you might have experienced in life building blocks, like something just started, I just started putting money towards this goal, or I just started seeing this guy, it's been about a year, and bam, something happened out of nowhere, and that's over now, that's done, we're going to have to start again. That is because your spirit team is saying, no, we're not investing long term in this, because that's not your plan. And what I think we forget is we compare and we go, oh, well, blah, blah, blah got married, so blah, blah, blah had it so easy, why can't I just have that? This comes down to what you decided when you came to this human plane, okay? We kind of all decided, which is going to sound strange if you're not spiritual, but this is why I believe we decided what our challenges were going to be based on what our soul wanted to progress. So some of us, when we think, oh, our life was more challenging or things were a bit more different or difficult for us, I'm not saying you chose to make your life difficult, but what you decided to focus on, your guides are helping you through. So for me, it's took a while to realize that that traditional route isn't my route. Like right now, particularly, it's not my route. It might be in the future that I find a partner and that I get to have the picket fence and the children and the partner. I'm not saying that won't happen. Right now, where I'm at in my journey, something has to change. I have to work on something. And so what I'm encouraging you to do, if you're in a similar position to me, is it's a time to get the pen and paper out and reflect again on your goals, because sometimes you write your goals down or someone writes them for you, to get this job, to earn this amount of money, to be married by 30. or 32. And you absorb them, but you don't realize that your wants, your needs change. So I was talking the other day to somebody about goals and how I don't like making them because they're very rigid and they don't give you that kind of flexibility. I used to be obsessed with goals, but then I found that it was limiting me. And then I was saying that it always goes back to the question of what do you deeply and truly want? And to me, that feels like an enormous question, and it will do for you. But then I started verbalizing the small things I want and realized that those are your vision boards. Those are your goals. Do you want a healthy body? Do you really want to find out what you enjoy? Do you really want to work on this area? And remember, as somebody who has this toxic trait, you can't do all the life goals at the same time. So don't say, I want to be physically fit, I want to have this amount of money, I want to be in a house, all in my 12-month plan. It's not going to work like that. Sometimes you have to tend to different seeds at different times to let them flourish. But just understand that sometimes your goal might be a little bit more complicated or a little bit more nuanced. You might have something that you need to do that the Deirdre next door, she didn't need to do, or she worked through something at a different point in her journey. It's not comparable, and she's at this path. But chances are, if you currently feel like your life has kind of not started yet, you haven't been fulfilled in any of those areas. So they're almost like they're still pending because you haven't found the root of what your fulfillment was in any of them yet. So in some ways, while that feels terrifying, it's almost like you haven't started the board of life yet, because you need to probably go back and get a bit more serious about what does it look like for that area to be fulfilled, particularly if it's never felt like it's been fulfilled. And you don't have to start with big scary things like a marriage and a house. It's like, how do I feel more fulfilled financially? How do I feel more fulfilled in my family and friend relationships? How do I feel more fulfilled in my daily routine? What little thing could I do that's going to make me feel more fulfilled? Because if you have a higher purpose, or you have something that your guardian angels want to guide you towards, being more intentional in the present helps bring that forward. I think if you've been on autopilot and you've just been following other people's dreams, that's kind of where your spirit guides and energies come in and go, we're kicking the sandcastle, because this doesn't align with you. You're not even intentional and present about it. And this is leading you down a path where you're going to waste more time before you finally wake up and say, this doesn't really feel like me. This relationship doesn't feel like me. This job doesn't feel like me. So I just wanted to do this video because a lot of people are just showing that overnight someone goes, okay, I turned like heartbreak into a business. I turned this into this. I did this. And it's a little bit more complicated than that.